Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm super excited because it's something I haven't really done on my channel before, and I've had my channel open for 4 or 5 years now, so it's quite a big thing that I haven't done this type of video on my channel before, which is a cheap versus expensive makeup test tutorial review, thoughts and feelings on products and comparisons, that kind of thing. One side of my face is the cheap side and one side is the expensive side. It's up to you to figure out which side is which, or you can watch to the end of the video. So there you go. You can definitely recreate amazing makeup looks using cheaper products. Yeah, I'm just an absolute shock because I thought this was going to go absolutely awful and one side of my face is going to look completely different to the other, and I would go into work later on getting loads of weird looks. But yeah, so if you want to see how I felt about cheap versus more expensive makeup, then please carry on watching and we'll jump straight into it. So to start off, the cheap versus expensive, actually I'm going to do cheap on this side and expensive on this side. This is my selfie side, that's what we're going to do. So for brows, I'm taking the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Definer in the shade Chocolate. This is going on the expensive side. I chose this because I don't have a cheap brow pomade at the moment, so this is what I'm going to use. I'm just going to comb through my brows using the spoolie. I've used this before and I do like it, I just prefer a pomade, but I'm just going to apply it by twisting it up and then tilting my head back slightly and then just slowly working it through the brows in little brush strokes. I actually have work later, so this is going to be really funny going into work with one half of like different makeup to the other half, so I might get some funny looks depending on the way this makeup look turns out, but it's okay, it was for an experiment. The good thing about this brow definer is because it's angled, it's easy to like apply it to your brows, almost like using an angled brush. I'm just hoping that my brows go well because I feel like when your brows go well, the rest of your face tends to go well. So that's what we're doing. So for the cheap side of my face, I'm taking this brow pencil from NYX. This is in the shade, I don't know, I genuinely don't know. This is one colour fits all. One? I don't know. It's just a brown eyebrow pencil. Very chunky. I tried to sharpen it but I couldn't get it so sharp. So I'm just going to take the brown side and try to do this eyebrow somewhat similar. I don't really tend to go towards this eyebrow pencil just because it's so fat. I feel like I'm just going to end up drawing like big sluggy eyebrows on, which is kind of what's happened over here, but we'll see. This one's gone like, this one's gone, woo! I'm having real trouble using this pencil just because it's so fat. It's like just waxing up my eyebrow. It's really waxy. That's not what we were going for. Yeah, this is really waxy and this is nice and smooth. I definitely prefer this one. So what I'm going to do is conceal my brows. For carving out the brows for the cheapest side, I'll be taking the Makeup Revolution Concealer and Define Concealer in the shade C4. Haven't used this on my eyes yet, so we'll see how that goes. And then for the expensive side, I'll be taking the Anastasia Beverly Hills Concealer in the shade 0.75. So I'm going to start with the cheapest side. I'm just going to kind of wipe off any excess on the like tube. Then just dot it on my eye. I really don't want to apply too much just in case it creases everywhere. I do want to look somewhat presentable for work. So I'm just going to take this flat brush from Anastasia. I'm not using like drugstore brushes because I don't really own any. So I'm just using like the makeup, if that makes sense. So I'm just applying this to the lid. It's nice and smooth. It has a very similar texture to the Anastasia one, I feel. Then I'm going to use the flat side of the brush to like carve out the brow. I'm going to apply a little bit more, which is surprising. I didn't think I'd need to. Now I'm going to switch to the expensive side. So I'm taking the 0.75 concealer from Anastasia. Just going to apply some of the excess like across here, and then use the flat side to define the brows. As you can tell, that side is a lot more like vibrant, a lot more thick and full coverage. You can still kind of see my skin through this. It is a really good concealer, Makeup Revolution one, just maybe not as an eye primer. I like it to just cover up all of those veins. So now I'm going to take my pinky finger and just kind of blend this into the eye. This one's setting a lot quicker than the Anastasia one. The Anastasia one is quite wet. It looks like I have more on, but I really don't. But also that concealer is blatantly not my skin tone as well. Do the same on the other eye. Now that's done, I need to set it into place. I don't own a really expensive face powder because my Rimmel Stay Matte Press Powder is my ride or die since day one of me being interested in makeup. I'm just going to touch up this brow. I figured I would try to use this Ben Nye powder for my eye. It's a very yellow banana powder. It's going to go everywhere, so I might cover up my lap. Be right back. So I've just put a towel on my lap so I'm nice and protected from this loose powder. So, oh, it's just, I've literally just opened it and it's gone everywhere. I absolutely hate loose powder. It just goes everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. So I'm going to use this brush to apply it to both eyes. This is from Spectrum Collections. It's like an angled fluffy brush. So what I'm going to do is just take a little bit of the banana powder, just going everywhere, and just attempt to tap some out into the cap. Oh my god, it's everywhere. How do people work with loose powder every day? I don't get it. I'm going to press this into the brush, tap off the excess. I've just got powder everywhere. I'm so glad I put a towel down, just smooth over like any lines but it's already creased, and then just press it into the eye. See how this goes. This just looks like yellow. I probably should have invested in a luxury powder. I really want to get the Laura Mercier powder. I borrowed it off a friend recently and I fell in love. That powder is so good. It's just so expensive. So I'm gonna save up and then purchase it for myself one day. I'm just gonna use the brush to kind of like smooth the area so it's easy when we apply eyeshadows later on. Then for the drugstore side, I'm taking the Rimmel Stay Matte Press Powder in the shade Sandstorm, which I use in every tutorial, and I'm just going to set that concealer into place. Perfect. I love the Rimmel Stay Matte Press Powder. You literally can't go wrong with it. So that's done. This eye, obviously with the banana powder, looks very yellow. Still feels very smooth. I just can't stop staring at my brow because this one looks so waxy and this one looks nice and smooth. For the drugstore / cheap side of my eyes, I'm going to take some shadows from Makeup Geek. They're probably the cheapest ones I own. I gave all of my Makeup Revolution eyeshadows to my sister because I don't really use them that much anymore. So I'm going to take the shade Beaches and Cream from Makeup Geek, which is right here. It's just a soft kind of skin basic transition colour. Tap off the excess, just apply that very like messily, almost like in the crease, because it's pretty much my skin colour. It's just acting as a nice transition. Then I'm going to follow up with the shade Creme Brulee, which is a slightly darker version of that. Taking that on this brush from the Anastasia Beverly Hills palettes and applying this into the crease of my eye. Because I'm going to work and I don't really have time to film like an extravagant makeup tutorial, I figured I would just go for a plain kind of like shimmery champagne makeup look. So I'm just applying this into the crease of my eye and blending it upwards. I love Makeup Geek eyeshadows. They're so good, they're so cheap and so pigmented, and you can create your own palettes, whatever you want from them. That's an Anastasia shadow, but the rest of them are Makeup Geek apart from that big white powder. So I blended that out, quite happy with that. Then I'm going to take a more precise brush and go in with this shade here, which is Cocoa Bear from Makeup Geek, I believe. Yep. Which is Cocoa Bear. So I'm just going to take that on this Sigma E25 blending brush. Tap off the excess, then apply that in the outer corner to start off with. Kind of like patting motions. And then I'm just going to sweep it into the crease as well. Then I'm also going to take some and just swipe this under my lower lash line. You really can't fault Makeup Geek shadows, they're so good. Really recommend them. Really recommend them. Just keeping blending. Then I'm going to take that brush with the shade Creme Brulee and then just go over the top of everything to soften it out a little bit. For the lid shade, I'm taking this palette from Sleek. It's the Rockstars Collection Diamonds in the Rough palette, and I'm going to go in with this shade here, which is a shimmery champagne gold. So I'm going to take that on this random flat brush. It doesn't have a brand or anything, but it's just really good. It's a synthetic flat brush. It's perfect for packing on colour. I'm going to apply that to the brush and then pack this onto the lid, just to really brighten those peepers. Then I'm going to use that brush that had Cocoa Bear on it, not picking up any excess product. Just going to blend softly over the edges for a nice basic shimmery champagne eye. That's literally done. For the expensive side, I'm taking the Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette. So for the expensive side, I'm going to take the shade, what is similar? I'm taking the Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette. I'm just trying to figure out what shades to use. I'm going to start off with the shade Burnt Orange because I feel like it's almost a mixture of Creme Brulee and Cocoa Bear. So I'm going to take the shade Burnt Orange on the brush that comes with the Anastasia palette, tap off the excess and then just blend this into the crease of my eye. I'm going to start off quite lightly and build it up just because I don't want it to come across too intense and look really different. It's so tempting for me to go back to this eye and like blend out like I just do on autopilot, but I can't touch it because it's not the same product. So annoying. So I'm going to blend this out more. I'm going to go in with a tiny bit of Realgar and a tiny bit of Cypress Umber and just kind of mix them together a little bit, tapping off the excess loads. And then just applying this on the outer corner to start off with, the same as we did on the other eye. And then bringing it into the crease. Same thing that we did on this side. I'm going to take the brush and then run it under the lower lash line. Take that Anastasia brush and just give that a little blend out to smooth everything together. I much prefer this side, but it might even be the shade just because I love the Modern Renaissance palette. It's my favourite palette of life. So then I'm going to take that shade Primavera and just pack this onto the lid. This is the like champagne colour that's kind of attempting to mimic this side. It goes on a lot nicer than the Sleek shadow, but Sleek shadows are really good as well. Then I'm just going to take that brush that had the darker shades on and just go into the crease of my eye to blend it out a little bit. And there we have two similar eyes. This one looks a lot different to this one. This one's more gold, this one's more champagne-y. What I'm going to do to somehow fix this a little bit is take the shade Tempera, also from the Modern Renaissance palette. Take a little bit of that and just kind of tap over the top of it. Yeah, that's helped to lighten it a little bit. For liner on the inner rims of my eyes, I'll be taking the Avon Super Shock liner for the cheaper side and the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dark Side Waterproof Gel Liner. I'm going to apply both of these to the inner rims of my eyes, starting off with the Anastasia one. I do really like this eyeliner. It stays on for ages and is really nice and intense, so applying this to the inner rim of my eye and also the upper rim as well, just to help blend in the lashes later on. Then I'll be applying the Avon Super Shock Gel Liner to the inner rim of my eye. This is a lot more intense than this side, as you can tell just from first touch. Then I'm going to curl my lashes. I'm going to use the Avon curlers for both sides because I don't own like an expensive version of an eyelash curler. Just going to curl my lashes. I forgot to put eyeliner on. That's great. Okay, so for eyeliner, the most expensive eyeliner I own is a Nude by Nature eyeliner in the shade Black. cheapest one I have is the Rimmel London liquid liner. I have expensive gel liners but not cheap ones, so I figured I'd use the same kind of product on both eyes. This one has a much thicker wand to it and it's a lot more intense. To be really careful that you don't transfer it up because it will ruin your whole makeup. This one has a lot of a thinner brush, so what I'm going to do is take a hand mirror because otherwise I'll go completely off frame. I'm going to start with the difficult side first, which is going to be the Nude by Nature one. I like this eyeliner more so for covering up the lash band when you put lashes on because it's so dark and so intense. I just really don't like how thick the wand is because you end up just getting a really thick line. But we'll try our best. Here we go. So I'm not going to talk throughout this just because I'll mess it up. Really don't like this side. It's really fat and like bleh. Really don't like it. I think if I was going to use this, what I would do is actually take the cheap side and just kind of like flick out the wing a little bit more because it's so thick you can't get a precise wing. So for the other side I'm going to take the Rimmel Glam Eyes liquid liner. This has a really thin brush, as you can see or even barely see. So I'm going to do this side and then I'll come back and let you know how I get on. It's just so easy to apply because it's such a thin brush. I need to go and get some more of this actually because I'm running out. So you can immediately tell this line is a lot more precise than this one. I've kind of messed up a little bit because there's a little dot of mascara, but that's easily fixable later on. Just going to even out this one a little bit. Okay, this eyeliner is just a hot mess. This looks ridiculous. Oh my god, that's so much thicker than that side. How has that happened? I'm so confused. We're going to have to go and even it up now, and we're going to have eyeliner up to our eyebrows to attempt to fix this with two different products. Oh my sweet Jesus, what's happening? Do you know what? I'm going to have to go to work with dodgy eyeliner because that is what's happened right now. So next up, we're just going to move on and pretend this didn't happen. For the expensive side of mascara, we're taking the Urban Decay Troublemaker mascara. I don't use this that much. Then for the cheaper side we have the Maybelline Lash Sensational. So I'm going to apply it to the cheaper side first. So I'm taking the Maybelline Lash Sensational mascara. So I'm just going to apply it to my lashes and hope it covers up this terrible eyeliner. I don't really like my eyelashes with just mascara anyway, so this will be a very biased opinion. The Maybelline Sensational has volumed them a lot, but we shall see how much this Urban Decay mascara adds. They're very different ones as well. This isn't adding as much volume as the Maybelline one. Maybelline are very known for having amazing foundations. Mascaras. I really like their mascaras. I'm going to keep applying to see if we can build up some more volume. Okay, I think that's as far as we're going to get. The Maybelline mascara is definitely better. It's a lot more volumizing. This one is just kind of like combed through the lashes, so it really just depends on what kind of vibe you're going through with your mascara. I personally prefer the Maybelline one with that. Yeah, and also I'm looking at the eyeshadow and they are probably a little bit different finish, but I definitely prefer this eye so far, which is mad. Because these shadows are like £10 for like a whole palette, and this one is like £35 for a whole palette, so yeah, massive difference there. So now we're going to move on to the face. So I don't have any primer right now, but for primer I'm just going to apply some illuminator. These are the closest dupes that I have. So I've got the MAC Strobe Cream for the expensive side. Then for the cheap side I have the Me Beat the Blues Pearl Pink Illuminator. I'm going to start with the cheaper side, so I'm just going to take this and like generously apply it on this side of my face. That, and then I'm just going to take this Real Techniques buffing brush and then just buff this into the skin. Has like an interesting smell to it actually, quite like it. It's not like intense, but it's like it definitely has a smell to it. So you can see it's giving me a nice luminous skin finish to put the foundation on top of. Then for the expensive side, I'm taking the MAC Strobe Cream. This is in the shade Gold Light. I know they do different shades of the Strobe Cream. I'm kind of running out of this. I've got to squeeze it really hard to get it all out. Okay, there we go. There's a nice amount. Just putting this generously across my face. It's maybe a bit too much, but we'll see what happens. Then I'm going to take that Real Techniques brush and then just blend this out on my face. It's so weird because this side of my face is pink and then this side of my face is like a gold tint and this side of my face is like a pink, so it looks a bit funny, but it's okay. That's what we do for YouTube. That's what we do. Now onto foundation. So I have run out of like any like expensive foundation, and the only ones I have are the Stick to Flawless foundation, which I only really like for contouring. I don't like all of my face. Cream foundations don't really tend to work on my skin, so I only like that for contour. So for foundation, I'm taking two Maybelline foundations. One's slightly more expensive than the other one. So the expensive one, well, more expensive, is the Maybelline Superstay foundation. I love this. I've used it once and I've just, oh, it's amazing. This is in the shade Fawn. And then the closest shade, I have loads of these. This is the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless foundation in the shade 130. Obviously I'll bronze up my face to try and make it look very similar. They both have a very full coverage. This one is just a lot more intense, so we'll see how that goes. I'm going to apply both of them using the Real Techniques and Miracle Complexion Sponge. So to start off, I'm going to take the Maybelline Superstay 24-Hour Foundation. Now it's quite a thick foundation. I'm not going to apply too much just because my skin is a lot paler than the actual foundation, but we're just going to keep on working. All of my fake tan has come off. I'm going to fake tan tonight and then my foundation will match for the video that I'm filming tomorrow. This foundation, like as you can see, like the finish is unreal. This foundation is amazing. I love it, I love it, I love it. So just taking it down the neck quite heavily. I've got work later as well. My top comes down to like here, so I need to blend this down the neck. Then I'm going to work it under the eyes a little bit and smooth out that kind of like eyeshadow area. It's so difficult putting it like perfectly in the middle of your face. Then I'm going to take a teeny bit more, apply this to this side of my forehead. I'd say the spot is more on that side. And then I'm just going to kind of pat over everything to blend it all together and pay attention to any spots that need like a little bit more blending around the hairline. Oh, it just makes your skin look so flawless and amazing. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. So for the other side of my face, I'll be taking the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless foundation in the shade 130. I don't think it's as dark as the other foundation, but we can make it work. I don't know, it's just a different kind of finish. Okay, I might apply like a little bit extra of this foundation to match up with the coverage. So I'm just going to pat it in. You all know I love this foundation. It's so cheap and it's so good. I love Maybelline foundations, they are amazing. So I'm just blending this down my neck with those funny sounds. Don't really care that it's on my top, I'm not wearing this top to work. Okay, and then I'm just going to blend it upwards, same as the other side. This is so funny. I haven't worn makeup to work. I haven't worn makeup to work in ages, and then the one day that I do wear makeup to work, I've got two completely different makeup products on both sides of my face. How funny. Okay, so they are pretty much the same colour actually. I was really worried that one side of my face was going to be like 10 times darker than the other side, but it's okay. So I'm just blending it all out together. So as you can tell, the finish on this side of my face is a lot more full coverage and matte. This side of my face has a little bit of shine. I would say it's more of a satin finish, but it's still quite full coverage and you can definitely build it up. I love both foundations equally. I just think I probably wear this one more now that I've discovered how full coverage it is. So yeah, this one I think is £10 and the other one is like £7. It's like a £3 saving, but you can tell like you get a very similar effect. So for cream contour, for the expensive side, I'm going to take what I always take. It's the Anastasia Beverly Hills Stick to Flawless Foundation in the shade Mink. Just going to apply this to the outer part of my face and under my cheekbone, and also kind of like under my jaw a little. I'm not going to put it down my nose because it will look really weird. I have two different ones down my nose. And then for the cheap side, I'm going to take the LA Girl Pro Conceal, which is like £3 in the shade of Beautiful Blonde, to squeeze out a teeny bit. This stuff is super pigmented. Attempt to put on the tiniest amount, and also on this kind of like outer perimeter of my face and under my jawline. Super weird. This is definitely a lot more like brown, and this is really warm, so it's going to look really weird. So to blend it out, I'm going to start blending out the Anastasia side using the Real Techniques Expert Face Brush. Start blending out that jawline, so just giving it little wiggly motions just to blend it all out. I love the Mink Stick to Flawless. I just think it's the perfect like contour colour for me. I do really like the LA Girl one as well, if I just want to use something that's like a bit cheaper. So blend that out as well. The LA Girl definitely one sets quicker. It's not something that you can put like all over your face then blend it out. You want to work in sections really. I think I would use the LA Girl one more in the summer when I want something to, like my face just in general to look a lot warmer, but the Mink Stick to Flawless foundation is just like unreal for contour. So for concealer on the cheap side, I will be taking the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define Concealer in the shade C4, and then for the cheaper side, and more expensive side, sorry, I don't have an expensive concealer right now, but I do have the Rimmel Match Perfection concealer, which is in the shade Ivory. It's like a few pounds more expensive. So I'm just going to apply the Makeup Revolution one quite heavily under my eyes, in the corner where it's a bit blue, all the way under in an upside down triangle to really brighten up that eye area. And I'll also be applying some on this side of my forehead, on this side of my chin, here and here. Oh, this is going to look so weird when I blend this out. Then I'll be taking the Rimmel Match Perfection concealer in the shade Ivory, which is the palest one I have of like the other one. See, this one's a little bit more pink, this one's more yellow, but hey ho. People will just think it's the shadows at work that I look slightly different. I might actually also take a little bit of the Maybelline The Eraser concealer just to go over the top of it. Yeah, just to add like extra concealness, because we're going expensive. So I'm just going to take my trusty Real Techniques Beauty Blender and blend out the cheap side first, and then kind of go one to the expensive to help it blend in a little bit better. So now I've blended out my face. It doesn't really look that different, except this side of my face is a lot warmer than this one because of that contour. So next I'm going to, what am I going to do? Next I'm going to set my face. I'm just going to skip through the step on camera because I don't want to put that Ben Nye powder all over my face because I will just look bright yellow. However, if I was going to be doing an expensive version, I'd be using the L'Oreal Mercier powder on this side and the Rimmel one on this side. So I'm just going to take my Rimmel Stay Matte Pressed Powder in the shade Sandstorm and just set my whole face, so I'll be back in a second. For contour on the cheap side, I'm taking this contour kit from Freedom Makeup in the shade 1, I think. It doesn't have a shade, but it just looks like this. It's a very pale contour, so I think I'm going to apply a lot of it. So I'm just taking the MAC 109 brush, giving a little squiggle and contouring my cheekbones. Even though it is quite light, it is quite pigmented from what I can see. I'm not really having to like dip too deeply into the product. Taking that up towards the temples as well. And then I'm also going to take that under my chin. Then for the contour for the more expensive side, I'll be taking the Anastasia Beverly Hills Contour Kit, and I think I'm going to take, I'm going to take my usual shade, which is the shade Java. So I'm just going to just sunk my brush into that and apply this under my cheekbone and then swirl it up towards my temples. Take a little bit more and apply it to the perimeter of my forehead and then under my chin as well. I'm not really noticing a massive difference, but I will say like the Anastasia one, you do have to apply a little bit more of it, but like the contour kit I use religiously, and this shade in particular. For bronzer, I have a massive price difference. I'm taking the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in the shade Give Me Sun for the expensive side, and then for the cheap side I'll be taking the Rimmel Natural Bronzer. So I'll be taking this on my Sigma EF25 brush, giving that a swirl, and then just bronzing up this side of my face. Then I will be taking the Give Me Sun bronzer. This is kind of got to that netting bit, you know, in MAC powders, so I'm just going to swirl my brush quite a lot to pick up as much product as possible. Then just apply this on this side of my face. For blush, I think I may have found a very close dupe, I wouldn't say exact dupe, but close. For this side of my face, I'll be taking the Nars blusher in the shade Deep Throat, and then for this side of my face, I'll be taking the NYX blusher in the shade Chiffon. They're both shimmery, peachy pink blushes, so I'll be taking them on this Zoeva Luxe Cheek Finish brush. I'm starting off with the Nars, swirling it a little bit, tapping off the excess on the back of my hand. I don't really like too much blush. And I'm going to wipe off the excess on the back of my arm, so we aren't like using the Nars one on this side. Then I'll be taking the NYX blush and then applying this to this side of my face. Both give a very glowy, pink girly finish, and then I'll be taking that big blending brush and then kind of just like going over it all just to blend in the blush a little bit. I do like both sides. I think they look very similar, so that's a really good dupe if you want a cheaper version of the Nars Deep Throat blush. So for highlight, very, very important highlights. I am a massive fan of the Sleek Solstice palette. It's absolutely incredible. I love this shade here. It's a champagne-y one out of the palette. I also love the pink one and the other one. Just the whole palette is amazing. For the dupe, I'm going to take the shade Marshmallow, which doesn't look exactly similar, but it kind of looks similar to the pale one here. You can see that. So I'll be using this shade from the Sleek palette on my cheekbone, and then this side from the Anastasia palette on my other cheekbone. So I'm going to start off with the more expensive side. I'm taking it on my Zoeva Luxe Powder Fusion brush, taking that shade Marshmallow, tapping off the excess, applying it to my cheekbone a little bit above my brow, and then I'm going to apply a little bit to Cupid's bow, and then apply that all over. Then I'm going to take that Zoeva brush and then just tap over it. Then the exact same on the drugstore side, just taking that really light colour from the Sleek Solstice palette, tapping off the excess and then just applying it to my cheekbone, a little bit above the brow and my Cupid's bow. So if you want a really intense highlight, these Sleek Solstice palettes are incredible. The Anastasia highlighters are beautiful, they just don't, I don't know, like this, look at it, just look at the Sleek side. Oh! Okay, so I'm going to set my brows into place. I'm taking the Anastasia Beverly Hills Clear Brow Gel on both sides because I don't own a cheap brow gel. So I always like to apply a really bright pop of highlight in the inner corner of my eye, and I always start off with a creamy, shimmery eyeshadow pencil. So I'm taking the shade Sand Shimmer from Anastasia Beverly Hills, applying that quite messily on the inner portion of my eye. Then for the drugstore side, I'll be taking this little bitty Primark shimmery pencil, which I use on like every tutorial and which has broken, which is great. Just gonna give that a quick sharpen. It comes with a sharpener as well as a smudger, which is great. Okay, and then I'm going to be applying that to the inner corner of my eye, same as this eye. So I'll be taking that Sleek highlighter. I'm going to take the really pale one, tap off the excess, then just tap that on top of the cream highlight, which will help to give it a really nice pop. So for the inner corner of the other eye, I'll be taking Marshmallow from the Anastasia palette, tapping off the excess, then applying it, and then apply it to the inner corner of my eye. Both highlights are beautiful. I just think the Sleek palette is so incredible, and so just the price is just unreal. I'm going to do my lips now, and for the cheap side I'll be taking the Primark Lip Liner in the shade, what is the shade? Toffee, which is just like brownie nude, and then on this side I'll be taking the MAC Lip Liner in the shade Spice. So I'm applying Spice first. It's really hard not to go to the other side of my lip. Then I'm taking the Primark Lip Liner in the shade Toffee. This one has a little bit more pink in it, the MAC Spice, I think. Okay, they both go on very nicely. They both have a very similar consistency. This one is a lot more brown than the other one though. So for lippy, for the expensive side, I'll be taking the shade Velvet Teddy from MAC, which is like all the way worn down, so I'm going to apply it with a lip brush. And then for the cheap side, I'll be taking the Avon Marvelous Mocha lipstick. They are very similar. So I'm going to start with the Avon side just because it's easier to apply because it's still in the tube. Then for the expensive side, I'm taking a lip brush and then going in with MAC's Velvet Teddy. I just got lipstick on my chin. So the MAC Velvet Teddy I found is significantly drier to the Avon lipstick. However, they are both beautiful lipsticks. I don't hate one of them and love one of the other one more, if that makes sense. They're just gorgeous lipsticks. Have I got to do anything else on my face? Yes, mascara on my lower lash line. This is going to be very interesting. So for the drugstore side, I'm going to take the Maybelline Lash Sensational. Then I'm going to apply the Urban Decay mascara to my other lower lash line. This has been very interesting. Definitely. I definitely think you can get an amazing finish. Oh, hang on. So this has been very interesting to do. One side is the expensive side, which is this one right here, and the other side is the cheaper side, which is this side right here. Both have given slightly different effects because I didn't have exact dupes for some of the products, but they both have beautiful finishes. I really like both sides. The only thing I will say is I'm not a big fan of that Nude by Nature eyeliner just because of how fat the wand is. If they reformulated it and put it in a different tube, different wand, it would be better. As in like same product, different wand. This is the finished look. I'm actually going to go to work looking like this, which is quite weird because one of my sides of my face looks slightly different to this side of my face, but I'm hoping people will just think it's the shadows. So this has been an interesting task. You can definitely get the same effect with a cheaper budget, especially these days when we all want to save money and save up for exciting things like travelling and nice handbags and adventures, etc. So I really hope you enjoyed watching this tutorial. It has been very interesting to film. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. It will really mean the world. And if you don't want to miss any of my videos, you click that big notification bell, which is also down below. I think it's next to the subscribe button, not too sure. Have a little look, it's down below. There's lots of things you can do on a YouTube video nowadays. You can comment, like, subscribe, notifications, you can tweet, all sorts. So yeah, if you did, I shall see you next time because you will be subscribed. Thanks for watching. Bye.